cream. And we are. Hey everybody, welcome to another show of the Operation Grow Show. Number 11 in the series, and we just flipped into flowers. So today's show is going to be about what everybody's doing, how we're getting on with the flower stage, and yeah, so start off at the top of the list on my screen at least. Dr. Winkler, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, thank you. I just want to start off by telling everybody we're using Google Meetings, so if anything's a little different for you, that's why. But I'm doing well. The weather's been great. Crops are really coming in. We always like to have our corn knee-high before the 4th of July, and we're right around knee-high now, so I'll take what I can get, you know what I mean? It's the farmer life, and it's crappy season, but we're happy with what we're getting. The Jamaican Bobsleds are looking awesome. Just put up a new video, the day 1 of flowers. So, yeah, everything's doing well.
Excellent, that sounds good. And yeah, the weather's been a bit crazy here as well. I don't know. Everybody on from the UK, yeah, we've been suffering a little bit of a heat wave. So, so that's going to be interesting in a few months' time to see what impact that has. Moving on then, Mr. Tim Massey, how you doing, sir?
Doing well, man. Life's good over here in Colorado, man. Can't complain. The Jamaican Bobsled are looking great. We got dabs everywhere. Everybody loves it. Beautiful weather. I do wish I had a farm like old Wiggles over there. Shebang.
It looks like we're just presenting Tanasi on the YouTube feed.
Me constantly.
Let's see what I can do.
Hey, it is just me. It's a me show.
It's the Tanasi show.
That's all we need. You got the pretty face.
Right?
What is that's strange. That's from we're gonna have to figure this out.
Ooh, I know why. Cause look, did that change it? It's streaming from.
Yes, it works.
I want to say that it's streaming from my OBS, which only shows me. I need to try to do a window capture.
Yeah.
There we go. Now we're looking at something. Oh, we were looking at somebody's sauce.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just changed my sauce out. But let's try this, guys. So I did a window capture, but it won't capture the window in Google Meetings that we're. I can see my mouse, you see?
Yeah.
But what would be displaying on Google Meetings is blank screen.
Yeah,
I know what the cause of that is. It's something we'd have to. In Chrome, you need to tell it to not use the hardware acceleration. Chrome is your browser, yeah?
Yes.
So if you go the three little icons, top right corner, it's going to kick you out of the YouTube channel chat and then come back in again. The top right hand corner with the three little buttons. If you go down to settings and then go all the way down into advanced at the very bottom.
I don't have advanced.
This on the Google Chrome.
Let's see. Oh, Google Chrome. Okay, I see why. Dun, dun, dun.
You get the customize and control Google Chrome option.
I can't ever find the three little dots.
Well, while we're doing that, let's see. Sturdy Scholar, how are you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. Been super busy. Sorry to everybody that I missed the last couple of shows, but yeah, between the 710 Cup, being out there hanging with Tanasi, and I didn't know he was going to do that show early, or I could have maybe tried to get out there. But yeah, between the competition and then now, let's just say that I'm exploring opportunities down in Oklahoma. and I'll keep you posted on any developments. So I've been pretty busy.
Nice. Nice. That sounds good.
Yep, so I got my plants. I flipped them. I think I flipped them one day before you guys because I had to go out of town on Sunday. So I flipped them Saturday night about 11 o'clock at night. So in all fairness, you guys got a little bit of extra veg time to beat me out. But yeah, I tossed them in there. I got to get them. They're just kind of in a temporary zone, so I got to get them moved over into my main 6x3 and in the Scrog screen that I have. So my measurements, I'm going to kind of record the height that they went in there just for informational purposes, but because of ceiling height in my Scrog, I'm going to limit their vertical growth to about 12 inches from this point. So they're going to do a lot of side vertical or side horizontal growth with me doing low stress training down into a screen. So I'll get lots of tops, but I'm not going to let them get much taller. So we'll have to count on some of the other growers to kind of get an average stretch. I can tell you based on how hard I have to scrub them down, how much I think they stretch, but I won't have numbers for you. It just won't work out like that, but I'll do the best I can.
Excellent, that's cool. And then, so let's move down to Mad Monkey. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good today. I got 2 of them transplanted. The other one's gonna let go for about another 5 days. But the 2 that I transplanted are in water, hydro tables. They were 19 inches tall.
Everybody's definitely got some serious growth on.
Mine would be so much bigger if I didn't have to dry them out like I did, but yeah, I stunted the growth a little bit, but they're tough. In the next week, they'll fucking explode.
You know that fan noise has stopped. Apologize, that's me trying to keep cool over here.
It's not raining over there right now.
Have you British never heard of HVAC?
Full life. Actually, probably found more people's cars have got AC than their houses will do.
I bet it must be like if you see somebody with a mini split, you just know they're growing. I mean, it should be assumed at that point.
What you're doing is working, Tanasi.
Right, we're fixed, we're up, we're running. Thank you, YouTube. There you go,
Oh,
guys.
it's getting better. Yeah, there you
It's
go.
officially changed the show view.
Boom.
Fantastic.
We have made the change from Google Hangouts
On the fly.
to Google Meets.
That's a good thing that Tanasi's here. If it was up to me, I don't know. We'd be fucked. So
We would have been looking at Tanasi all day.
sorry for my U.S. Navy sailor's mouth, but I was actually in the Navy, so I earned my sailor's mouth, and you guys will just have to deal with it on this only show anyway.
My parents were bikers, so.
There you go. That's also a good pedigree for a dirty mouth.
Well, fuck
My
yeah.
dad was Vietnam vet.
I just grew up in California, so whatever.
My dad is not really my dad, but everyone said.
All right, TMI, I think.
So what are you showing there, Tanasi? I think you've got a whole screen instead of window.
Oh,
I've got it
shit.
disappearing into the distance.
So,
Well, if you just hit the full screen down there and take out all of the comments and chat on the side, it'll be a decent view anyway.
well, it's not
It won't be as
supposed
good as
to.
before with Google Hangouts. We're gonna have to figure out something, I think.
That's the thing, it's not supposed to be changing. It's supposed to be stuck on the screen. They'll put a web page in.
So hang
So,
out.
Mystic, how are you doing, sir? Sorry, jeez.
What?
It's alright, we started at the same time, go ahead.
Mystic, how are things going with you? How is your grow going?
Everything's going great. As everybody knows, we just flip the flower. We all flip the flower. I just introduced predator bugs into the grow because we're not going to be doing any more organic sprays. We did that yesterday, and yeah, everything is looking pretty good.
Nice, nice. And I think that's everybody, if I'm not mistaken. Wow, it's hot here. Sorry. I'm sweating away.
Are we fixed?
Now, while you tell everybody how hot it is,
Relative,
why don't
relative.
you share those degrees in Fahrenheit so that we could tell you how full of shit you are?
But it's hot.
Alright, hang on a second. Hang on a second.
It's hot to him. It's hot
Isn't
to
it
me.
one of the hottest
Find that
things we've
conversion
ever had?
They
I'm
did it
just
from the
saying.
tropics.
When
So today it got up to 98.
Isn't that one of the
98.
hottest
Oh
things?
yeah,
Yeah, that's fucking hot.
98 will melt a British person for sure.
98 and about 90% humidity, and it hasn't shifted.
Hey,
Yeah,
now,
now normally in the tropics we'd have a nice big thunderstorm and everything would be better for about 20 minutes, and then it will nice get hot and humid again. But it's just incessant hanging around, not really shifting. Which of course then does bring on the question, what do you guys do in these sorts of conditions in your environment while you're growing?
you have to have things in place to take care of that. So in the summer, you need enough HVAC tonnage of cooling capacity to dial in your room. You don't have to keep it 70 degrees. I mean, if you're not growing under high pressure sodium or metal halide, if you have, heck, I think even the ceramic metal halide put out a lot less heat. But certainly if you're growing under LED, the beauty of LED is not only does it save you on electricity for running the lights, they just don't put out the heat, so you don't have to cool your room down. I mean, I run my room at 82 to 86 degrees and the plants just love it. I hate it. I hate being down there taking care of plants, just sweating, but I do it for plants. I love them. So they like it, I hate it, but I deal with it.
No, cool. Yeah, that's definitely a benefit of LED. Certainly the lower heat at this time of year.
So
Only lower heat because you tend to be using a lower wattage light.
Well, it just doesn't put out the infrared. So,
Yeah.
With a high pressure sodium, you really need to keep them off of your canopy. They're a great light. I mean, it's just a horsepower light, and people have grown great weed under HPS for a long time. The problem is you have to keep it off of your canopy so that you don't get so much thermal radiation from the infrared of the light into your leaf temperature, your leaf surface temperature. So you're running them higher up, and then you also have to keep your room cool, because even though the room might be 74, 75 degrees when you're doing HID lighting, because it has radiant heat coming off of that light, it actually heats the leaf surface temperature up to the 84, 86 that you're running under LED. So it's equal. It's just a matter of, do your plants enjoy the environment at the expense of you, or do you enjoy the environment at the expense of the plants with your lighting? And of course, HID lighting is more expensive over the long term because it's more energy consumptive. So I like to think that HID lights are the pay-as-you-go plan, and LED is the pay up front and then have a cheap bill. So I think in the long term, at best it's equal, or at worst it's equal, but I really think that you're going to save over the long term if you just put the money out there in LED. So I would kind of advocate that people get a smaller setup, but do it with LED and do it proper, and then expand their square footage. rather than get a bunch of HID that you can cover a lot of square footage, but then you're going to deal with heat, a lot of waste heat that you have to cool, and a lot of, you know, I mean, I don't know. That's the best I can put it.
To be honest with you, Stoney, I think that's kind of a twofer, because you got people like me over in Michigan, and in the wintertime, if I was running just LEDs, I would have to run heaters. So then I would be filling my bill, you know, 2 ways. So I do run the HPS, and then I just run my DU when the lights are out to compensate for that heat that the DU is going to put off. So it's compensation. There's all kinds of ways to dial your rooming, folks. You know, you can move your air, anything.
It's going to really depend on your environment, and I agree with you, because in the winter I run my lights during the day, and then because of amperage restrictions, I can't run heating and lights at the same time. So the lights will keep it warm enough during the day, because in the winter I'll run lights during the day, and even though it's cold outside, it's enough energy that I'm pumping in there, because you're not pumping it out as radiant energy, rather it stays in the heat sinks, and the heat sinks will disperse that heat, and so it'll kind of rise up to the ceiling. So in the winter it helps if your fans will kind of blow up and move that air down, then you can kind of move that warm air around. But
Cobb Grower in the chat has just made a point that I kind of was going to touch on. He said if you do LED properly, you still need a lot of wattage, 600 plus to replace a 1,000 watt HID. And that is kind of true, like, because I run 600 watt HPS in my flower room. In order to replace that, I'm going to put 600 watt lights equivalent to replace it. I'm not going to win 0 on my power.
Well, no. I think you're also producing 600 watts worth of heat at the same time.
Yeah, but I need that heat, as we just expressed, except for 2 months of the year, I need that heat.
Right.
And exactly.
It's dependent on environment, but when the person in the chat said that they're running 600 watts to replace 1,000,
I believe that's Mystic's old man, Fabio.
Well, so, and I think that they're right, because you get an efficiency bump. You're going to get a 30 to 40% efficiency bump. And so where you had 1,000 watt HPS, you can replace it with a 600 watt. So if you're running a 600 watt, I would expect you could replace it with like a 333 to a 400. Just depends on what it is. But
I mean, that's the whole thing about, that's where the power saving and, you know, the heat saving comes in, is that your 1,000 watt HPS can be replaced with a 600 watt LED, and that's your 40% saving in power and 40% saving in heat output. Sure. But of course, you need a high-end LED light to be doing that.
If we just look at what's available on the market, in order to do that, I'm talking apples to oranges. You know, it's $1,000 to $115 in order to do this. Like, for somebody to build out a 5 light room, I mean, they're talking $5,000, or they can do it for 500 or 700 and some HPS lights.
Well, now let me correct your math just a little bit. On your HPSs, how many lights are you going to need? 5 or 6, right?
Okay, let's just go with 5. I buy HPSs for $165 a piece. That's the whole kit, 2 bulbs in the door,
with the reflector,
everything,
ballast,
everything. It's a Yield Lab. It's $165 a piece, 600 watt. It has the super loom. I've been using them for almost 2 years now. They're $165 a piece. You cannot compare that to any 600 watt LED and get the same price.
Oh no. Here's the thing, and here's my when you look at LEDs right now, the price is coming down, but for any company that has to employ people, have insurance, they have overhead, they have their utilities and their property that they're paying for, they have so much expense that they're going to have to charge you at least double costs just so that they can have a slim margin. So that's why I've been an advocate of DIY. If you want to get the horsepower and you want to put that power to the ground, then DIY is the way to go. But it is going to cost you in time. You have to educate yourself. You have to become an expert in building lights.
I believe DIY, and I believe LED is the future. I just believe that these people making LED lights need to make them affordable for everybody.
It's because it's expensive and it's cost them a lot to import stuff from overseas and then build a quality product. I can build a light for half of what they're going to charge you for one or less. In fact, I'll throw up a light that has two 200-watt drivers. Okay, so look, I'll put up I can put together a light that will consume under 500 watts because mine came in at 489, and it will have 8 cobs, and it will have active cooling and an aluminum heat sink, and that's what I can put it together for cost. The problem is that I can build it for just under, let's see, I think I built that one for about $400, but that's me doing all the work. That's me knowing that I can order this, that, and this component, and that when I put them together, they won't fry. And I've burnt some shit up too by not being 100%. So
us being a cob grower building our own lights cost us about $2,000 for what we have, and we built them all ourselves as well. And it costs about $300 a month to run it.
Yeah, the cost is going to come down thanks to like the automotive industry. That's really what you're looking at, is the number of LEDs that cars are going to start consuming for all their lighting requirements is progressively going to drive the cost of LEDs down. That's really what we're looking for, is a big uptake in LED lighting, so that all of the development costs suddenly get covered. That's why it's been so expensive up until this point, is because so few, relatively speaking, so few people are actually using them, and therefore, we're still paying for all the R&D.
Basically.
So now that everybody's flipped into to flower, how are things going? Obviously, it's a bit early, but no.
I think you guys saw my post. It's pretty amazing.
Sorry, say again?
The post I put on Instagram, I think most of you guys seen it. It's pretty amazing. Like 2 days, they're like fucking halfway done.
Yeah, that was funny anyway. I got a good laugh out of it.
I was wondering, like, that's bullshit.
What plants were those?
Yeah, something.
I had raspberry beret.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean feeding them like me? What the hell?
I've been giving them the Mexican horse steroids.
Mexican horse steroids?
Yeah.
So I guess this would be a good time for me to bring this up before I get on embracing organics later, where I would be bitch smacked if I even thought about it. But so look, if anybody wants to go to college and have a little bit of chemistry 1, chemistry 2, a little bit of organic chemistry, the thing is that the more that you learn about how all of these chemicals and compounds that we're feeding our plants and what organic actually means, it actually just means that there is a carbon atom in the molecule. So organic, from a chemistry standpoint, is wildly different from what it's been made conventionally. But as far as a salt-based nutrient, I have a stark revelation for some of the organic growers that don't have college chemistry. So
Preach on, preach on.
I will preach on, brother. So look, a salt is a metal atom that's combined with a compatible element that will make it a neutral. So you have a metal atom that has a charge, and you just need an opposite charge to balance this out. So you can then start looking at, okay, my plant needs sulfur and it needs magnesium. Well, do you know what that is? That's Epsom salt. It's magnesium sulfate. The beauty of
They're
salt,
cheap to buy at the local
yes, you can
garden
get it at the
centre in a
grocery
branded bottle.
Yeah. You can also get lemons and you can squeeze them to get lemon juice, and that citric acid will be a very good pH up because it's very acidic. So yeah, you can use lemon juice if you have good chemical or chemistry background, but salts are just two elements put together. And if you can match them to where you need both of those elements, then a salt will very rapidly dissolve in water. And so this is useful if you're going to run a hydroponic or DWC kind of a grow. I don't know. I think that chemists, when they hear about people talking about organic stuff, they just probably think that, well, yeah, you could do it that way, but that's the long and hard way to get what I can do with, you know, it's basically custom made.
Yeah, I think it shouldn't be necessarily called organic and non-organic. It should be salt-based or non-salt-based.
I got a rebuttal to you a little bit there, Stoney, being the organic guy here and being the farmer here on the panel. So I am not necessarily against using like a salt-based nutrient. Like I've actually had a job where I did that, and that was okay with me. But we knew where them nutrients were coming from. We used a company that cared, a company that knew how their products were being derived, and they weren't being derived in some acidic solutions and this and that. The way it's derived is the most important to most organic growers. How we get to the point of it, and not using some crazy harsh chemicals to get to that point.
Oh no, I wouldn't advocate anything that causes any kind of environmental distress. I think that there's plenty of ways to grow plants with natural processes, and you can harvest natural deposits of certain things. You know, I think that when you grow, you need to decide what's going to work for you and what you think you're going to be proficient at. And then if you try it and you're not proficient, then you should try something else.
Absolutely.
So maybe we should relay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Over time, growing styles evolve. You know, when I first started, I started using it was organic, but to organic growers, they said it wasn't organic. I was using bottle nutrients. I used what is it? Roots Organics line of nutrients when I first started, and then transitioned to a couple of other different kind of bottle nutrients that were all organic, but it was in bottles, so therefore it wasn't organic because I wasn't feeding it like super soil or whatever. Everybody's opinion is different on organic,
Well,
and growing styles definitely evolved because now we're using the Jax 321, which is salt based. So we're just, I guess, trying to try, and we're still using some super soils, but we're not using bottled nutrients anymore.
well,
There shouldn't be more case of it's ethically sourced nutrients as opposed to unethically sourced nutrients. And bottled nutrients in terms of flying bottles of water all over the place just doesn't make sense. In that, in that respect of bottled nutrients, but bottled nutrients because they use salt-based nutrient. I don't see any issue with that. It's being organic or non-organic. I mean, I've always, coming from a science background, I've always found that a little bit of a stretch to say that salts are not organic. I mean, it's about as organic as it's going to get. And, well, carbon, but this you take rocks and grind them up, and you can get these salts out of them. That's not artificially.
Using organic materials.
Yeah, exactly. You're just speeding up the process.
Yeah. Don't get salt alive, whatever.
Yeah, I think that if you can look into whatever way that you grow and ensure that you're doing it as ethically as possible, that's probably the best that you could do. I mean, we're just humans after all. So, research your method, make sure that your inputs are as clean as as clean as you can have them. and then, you know, have fun with your medicine. At the end of the day, it's supposed to help heal you. It's not, you know, it's not supposed to be the cure for world peace. So,
Right on for that, man. Well said, brother. Well said.
Is it not ethical to sacrifice the goat and pour the blood over the harvest?
no, I have 3 goats, and we're not killing any of them.
I'm just kidding.
They're my children de facto.
That's alright, I've got a 4th one, I'll bring that one along, or we can slaughter.
I'm just kidding. I poured that shit on my harvest.
You barbarians. Here, with my salts, and you guys are the barbarians killing goats.
It worked for the Mayans.
Well, it's an organic feed, you see.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I have my chickens. They poop, and I just collect it.
It's a blood meal
Yeah,
feed.
it poops a lot though.
So has anybody noticed like any terpene profile or anything like that that's starting to stand out? I mean, I know during the veg stage, I know certainly with the chili plants, if you rub the stems and that, you get an idea of some of the terpene profile.
I'm getting like a cheesy smell on a couple of mine.
Interesting.
Yeah, mine are a little skunky and funky. But
I
I
actually
haven't
noticed,
been molesting them too much.
some kind of like a sweet, fruity type flavor. And I was like, whoa, where'd that come from? Because I haven't got nothing from that this whole time, but except for the last like day. It was actually when I was taking that video of me walking along the 5 of them. I bumped across them and I smelled it. When I did it, I was like, holy shit, that's
That would
awesome.
be from fake food probably. That would be from the father's side.
There's definitely different phenos all the way across the board, from fan leaves to smells to size of plants. It's definitely different phenos all across the board.
I haven't checked all of mine, but the couple that I have checked are pretty similar. They're just kind of like a dank funk, like almost like a cheesy, not really like a cheese smell, but just like a dank smell.
I gotta get my frog down. I couldn't tell you too much. They're stinky. They're a little skunky and funky, but yeah, I just tossed them over into the flower side, and I gotta get them scrogged in probably tonight. If I don't, they're gonna start taking off on me.
And I just saw a comment in the chat there from Bear Grove saying that recharged great for veg only. So is it to avoid using it during flower or no?
I use it all the way through. Some people
Yeah.
say not to, but I use it all the way through. I just don't use it full throttle.
What's the reasoning that they say not to use it in flour?
They don't have one. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Go on,
Go on, pending statement.
I'm
They
sure.
have a lot of nitrogen conversion, so it might make your plant too green in flower if you were to lay it on heavy. I think you could probably go on still half strength, but I'll ask Scotty.
I'm
Well,
curious to know
not-
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm curious to know how much your guys' plants have stretched. Mine's like gone about 2 inches already.
No.
I don't really think that mine have stretched at all. I put them in there on Saturday night, and I built this new light and I hung it up down there. But when I hung it up, I accidentally broke one of the solder connections off of one half. So I've got all of my far red and near red all lighting up, but I only have half of my white. So they're doing good underneath of it, but I've just been too busy lately. I have to get down there and just solder that up so they get all the light, and then they'll probably do a little better. But no, they seem to be happy, and I really don't want them to stretch too much. I'm gonna have to scrog them down anyway.
Yeah, because some of those are turning into beasts, so any serious amount of stretch is gonna.
Well, yeah, most of
very
my
tight fit.
Most of my plants are 3 foot or taller, so I'm going to try to keep them to 4 foot, so that means a lot of horizontal growth.
Cool.
Did we pick how many days out that we wanted to measure everything so we could compare it all evenly? Because we did it right before flip, You're gonna do it at 5 days, 7 days, 14 days.
I reckon do it at 7-day intervals. Probably would be a good one. Week 1, week 2, week 3.
All right, so
Track it that way.
at day 7 and at day 14, we're taking measurements again, so we know where it's at.
Yeah, that would work. I think that sounds like a good plan.
Sounds good.
I like that. So I haven't really noticed any stretch at all in my plants. They seem to have gotten a little wider, but I did put them in their final 5-gallon pots, so they gotten a little wider. I haven't really seen them go up tall.
Yeah, and somebody's made a good point there in the chat about kelp during flower, and that overly strong kelp-based feeds are not a good idea during flower.
Yeah,
I
you'll
know
get
some people that use kelp all through flower. It's interesting to see it, and I smoked their ganja, and it's pretty good. And but like me personally, I cut anything nitrogen based off at about week 3, week 4. It's gone, in flower. I don't want anything to do with anything nitrogen.
One reason why I quit or
And it
cut
seems to have
back.
a tendency to cause, in certain circumstances, tendency to cause verming from maybe just overfeeding.
One reason why I cut back on it is because I have such a strong super soil that I noticed bananas, and I started having some seeds pop up and a few strains. It was just stressing it out too much. It was too much. You had to back off the pedal.
I've definitely overcharged some super soil and kicked my own ass with nanners before. I've done that stuff once.
I think most of the time I get nanners, it's from moving my plants around when they're already flowering. They don't fucking like that. Get your plants in your spot, let them flower out, don't move them. That's a major stressor, to pick a plant up and move it around and jostle it. You're just asking for trouble. So FYI, you've been warned by the Stony Scholar.
The Stony Scholar. Alright, I'll dab to that info.
Thank
Cheers.
you. I'll dab to that too. I don't know why it's nasty, but for whatever reason, when yours come up, it puts me square on the screen crying. It's because you're so pretty. Thank you.
Yeah, we gotta have the prettiest face on the...
Yeah, you're pretty, no homo. So yeah, I'm trimming up these buds right now, and here's the weirdest thing is I'm getting this smell. So it smells like really dank weed, but way down deep underneath, I get a smell of ramen noodles. So all you college kids that just love your ramen noodles, I got that ramen noodle bud here. Not for sale, sorry. Just never smelled ramen noodle bud before, but I might as well bring it up.
Like beef or chicken, the spicy ones? What kind?
Yeah, no, it's like
What flavor?
oh, it's like so it's like that spicy chicken that you can get, and you sprinkle that on there. Yeah, it's got. I mean, that's the only way I can explain it is if you get a good whiff, it brings you back to college days of like chicken ramen noodles that are like the spicy flavor.
Oh my goodness.
That is a really odd one to get.
Yeah, I know.
That sounds like one of those you know situations.
Because
Yeah,
that different
vegan.
smells will take you back to certain memories.
I'm sitting here trimming it while we're talking.
Oh my goodness.
My vegan chicken ramen noodles.
Maniac.
I mean, all that stuff's vegan. You know, there's no meat or anything in that. They're just fooling you.
That's true. Actually, that's a really good point.
It's just MSG, right?
Yeah, basically. It's
Pure MSG to the main vein.
2/3 MSG, and then the other third is just straight salt. If it's not monosodium glutamate, it's just sodium chloride.
That's a pretty word, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Take your BP medicine.
Yeah, take a tour around Southeast Asia and it'll get your MSG levels up. But they use natural MSG. It's the CB half. Well, Southeast Asia, we don't have natural.
Oh, so I guess one thing is I swapped my plants over there. I really tonight I'm gonna grab my monitor unit and move it over. So my monitor unit is still in my veg. My flower side is not much different. Maybe a little bit wetter, but not quite as humid. So I'll get it put over there tonight so we got good readings. But other than that, I guess that's the main thing that I've got going on. Is just trying to get everything transitioned fully.
Right. I just put mine in there too, in some 5-gallon pots, transplanted them. Then they're all short little guys, man, or girls, and they're a little stanky. Yeah, they are. They're girls. I got 6 of them, dude, and they're stanky. So I went and picked when I picked the leaves off the lollipop it to put them in there. I could smell them. Some of them were strong, super strong. Like you were saying, the funky. They're real funky.
Yeah.
I like it.
What about you, Doc? How's your plants doing? You pop them over there, are they stretching? Are they getting stinky? Are they tall? Are they short? Are they fat? They got big booties?
Did you ask me? I was like doing something. I didn't hear you.
No, but you can respond. I was asking Doc, but he's still muted. So how are your plants?
Yeah.
They got big booties, and are they stinky, or are they just getting started?
They're just getting started. Friggin'.
Alright, well,
Give them about a week. They'll blow up.
you get their funk on?
I got a question. Is everybody gonna take clones?
That's what I was just gonna ask.
I always do. That way, if you get something good, you got it.
Yeah, I already took clones. I took a ton of them.
I hate re-vegging. It fucking sucks.
I've
I've already
never.
got great clones going.
I'm not
Any
quite
clones, but I just wasn't happy with anything I did in veg cycle, to be honest. So I didn't take any clones. These are some of the weirdest group of plants, the smaller plants. Everything around it was weird, so I didn't take any clones.
No, I didn't either. I got a lot of weird stuff. The mutant tulip lip plant ended up being a male, so
You gave
he's
up.
actually still downstairs. I haven't killed him yet, but I'm gonna kill him. I don't plan on collecting any pollen. He was a real weird fucker. So, yeah. And then the females, I don't know. I mean, I guess if I get bud that's just so unbelievable, I'll just re-veg. I don't want to do it, but
I'm right there with you, though. I'm right there with you. There's too much weird stuff going on for me to want to take cuts.
yeah. And look, so here's my thing. I think that if there's a winner in here, it'll be a clone only. So if I have to re-veg to get a clone only out, then that's fine. But the proof's gonna have to be there. I just don't have space to carry a bunch of clones on a maybe. And usually I don't want to be the guy that says, oh yeah, I got this great bud, but I didn't take a cut. So I'm putting myself in the position that it's gonna have to blow me away to re-veg. So I don't know if it's there. There was a lot of weird shit. I think the F2s could be kind of funky, but you know, where people get clone only funky genetics is from this wild shit. So don't discount it. Just because things got crazy doesn't mean it's not good shit. It might be the wildest, craziest, funkiest shit when we get some buds. But I'm just not going to tie up 6x3 space for, you know, holding a bunch of things just in case. Because I've got, you know, I got 10 different projects going. So I'm already stretched really thin.
Yeah, space is number one. There's not enough room. Well, if you've already got many more going to take 10 clones.
I was asking Stoney if he had 10 different moms or something like that, or 10 different
Oh,
flavors.
no, I got more than that. So what I've been doing is I've been taking 15-gallon radical bags and just filling them up, and then I'll put like three mothers in the center, and then I'll line the whole outside of the bag with about 8. So you can get about 11 plants inside of a 15-gallon radical bag, and it's like 3 foot deep. So once you water it, it'll hold moisture for a long time. And yeah, so I'll just label them. You got to label them at the base so you don't get them mixed up. but then I just give them haircuts like they're a big shrub. So if I don't need clones, when they get a little tall, I will just trim them. I'll just grab bunches and I'll take the scissors in there and just cut them to pieces, and they're fine. You know, people don't get that. Plants like to be abused. They like to be cut back. They want to have the chance to spread out and make more growth sites. So the more you trim them, the more vigorous growth you'll get, as long as you are taking care of your plants. If they're having to struggle to survive, then you can't do that. But once you're dialed in, and once your plants know that you love them and that they're going to get fed on a routine basis and they can count on it, they will perform. So I just trim them all the way back, and when I need to, I can take 20 clones off of any one of those girls, because they're just vigorously growing all the time. And instead of letting them get tall, I just trim them, you know, once every other week at least. Just keep them cut down. And I probably throw away hundreds of potential clones. But if I don't need them, there's no sense. I guess I'm trying to keep genetics. I'm not trying to disperse them at this point. If anybody ever gets in the point that they think that what I'm growing is worth their time, then maybe that'll change. But I don't have any aspirations to that. Just trying to grow my own meds, trying to grow my good stuff makes me happy. So that's how I do it anyway.
Yeah, I like that with the putting them in multiple pots. I've never done that before, except for like the first time I ever grew anything.
Yeah, I would say, like, back in the day, that's how a lot of breeders were doing it. Or I shouldn't say breeders, but a lot of just people holding on to genetics were doing it. You know, they were putting 4 or 5 in one pot to grow as moms. They give them one light, you know, one big pot, 4 or 5 plants, and, you know, they give them one light in one space, and that's where they would go.
Yeah, they'll take to it right, quite readily, as long as you take care of that pot, realizing that you're actually taking care of 8 to 11 plants. You know, it's gonna suck that moisture in, so you have to take care of your mothers. But I think that putting 12 mothers in 12 separate pots, I guess it's safer, in that if you kill 1 or 2, you won't kill the rest. So you're putting more of your eggs in one basket. But, you know, if you have 3 big 15 gallons, you could actually double up all of your genetics and keep it so where you have 2 cuts of each. So you don't have to really risk losing stuff if you mess up as much. But you do have to be responsible when you're doing big preservation projects like that, where you've got multiple eggs in one basket and you don't really want to lose those genetics, because for whatever reason they've impressed you in the past to the point that you think that they're worth preserving. So, sorry you guys. I know. I have diarrhea of the mouth. I hope that you guys get something out of it, because I know I talk too much. My bad.
No, absolutely fine. That's what it's all about, or getting all that info. So yeah, what would be cool is if maybe for next week, if you guys at some point just ping me maybe your latitude, longitude. I want to run some of that predictive environment analytics, do some forecasts, and see how accurate it's been for where you guys are located. Because one thing I've noticed when doing it is by incorporating the external weather conditions and the weather forecast, the accuracy of the forecasting of greenhouse environment or grow room environment becomes incredibly accurate all of a sudden, which just goes to show how much that does actually impact even an internal grow space.
Yeah, I was actually trying to find a freaking local humidity chart that was kind of charted out like on a bar graph or something, so I could compare it to like what we have, but I couldn't find anything that really was useful for me.
If you go to forecast.io, that's a pretty good site for weather data. historical and forecast data. Because I had it running for my greenhouse, and it's been able to really accurately predict this heat wave that came through. Pretty much nailed it, and I've just been keeping an eye on it this evening. And what it was predicting for the sudden temperature drop, that's happened. It's quite remarkable, just how closely it got it right.
Yeah, I saw that your predictive model's getting more accurate. That's good. It's the way it needs to be going. I think
Yeah.
if you get enough feedback, you should be able to really dial it in. So,
tweaking which of the extra parameters that are being used, just playing around with the weightings of those to find out what the correct levels for each one is, to give the most accurate result. But I've been pretty amazed how well it's done on relatively small amounts of data. But it is very localized per grow. I don't think I'm able to generate a generic model that works all over the place. It needs local data to be able to do it accurately.
Weather's kind of a pain in the ass. I don't believe any of the weathermen personally. So if you could do better than them, I'd be interested. So
yeah, I hope to have the first cut of it made available to a few people in the coming weeks.
Yeah. Oh man.
All right.
I regret having the wife get home. First thing she's gonna say when she gets in is, "God damn, why does it smell like weed so bad in here?"
Well, that would be
because I've been trimming, honey. Because I've been trimming. So.
Don't worry, I got one rolled, babe.
Yeah, the only thing is she doesn't smoke.
Damn it, I had a feeling.
No, she's such a good girl. She tolerates me smoking because she knows I need it for my medicine. So she's the earner and I'm the grower. And I just try to get medicine to people that need it for the least amount that I can. And I actually had a couple of feedback comments lately from patients that are legal. So all you haters can suck my dick.
Haters.
While all the haters are sucking my dick, I'll relay some comments from some legit legal patients that report not only is one of my female patients able to get through the month with only 1 to 2 migraine headaches, where she had migraine headaches 5 to 6 times per week, so almost every day. Now she only has 1 or 2 a month.
I would love to see if she would do small dose DMT to relieve that pain from the migraine.
I know. Well, I'll talk to her. But right now, she went from smoking whatever kind of nasty weed you could still get your hands on that had seeds in it. I just matched what she was paying. So she wasn't paying shit for that nasty old dirt weed. But I just said, look, what are you paying? Okay, let me give you medicine for the same price. And it's changed her life. And now her husband, who works down in some mines, he works in like limestone mines where they're mining out rock down underneath the earth, and his knees are just shot. And it's been to where he can't really walk very much without being in pain. And now he says that he can get through his workday, and most days he's not even in pain. Not because that he's smoking cannabis. It's that he's smoking a grade of cannabis that is actually medicine. So
that's just the beginning, because psilocybin mushrooms at a micro dose level can knock out pain like nothing else.
Yeah, but what I was impressed about is that they had already been consuming poor grade cannabis, and they weren't getting the relief that they needed. But with connoisseur grade cannabis, it made all the difference. So
we changed
yeah. So with Pete's, monitoring equipment, so that we can keep track of how do you grow this high quality cannabis that has you know, the ability to relieve pain, relieve anxiety, relieve depression, depending on what the strains are. I really think that you're going to end up with different strains of cannabis that are recognized as being particularly effective against certain things. And so I'm happy that Pete's kind of working with us to show people like this is what you can do under different environmental conditions with different genetics. So, you know, we've started with one genetic, and I just
or even what you could potentially do with the same genetics in the different environmental conditions.
exactly. So I hope we're doing something that's going to help people out in the long run. That's all. That's why I'm doing it.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to get interesting. And then again, this is where that predictive analytics stuff, what got me excited is now that I've got it starting to predict things pretty well and understanding all of the additional factors that need to be included, if we're able to start doing chemical profile analysis, like if you could do it every week and record the values of that information, you know, chemical compound concentration levels, record those as well, then with all of that observed data, you'll be able to predict within a reasonable degree of certainty the chemical profile output based on the genetics that you've got and the environmental conditions and mitigation that you've been going through. So that will become exciting.
Good
Right,
stuff.
guys, I'm going to have to jump it in the next minute or so, unfortunately. But yeah, we've been going for an hour. It's been a good chat.
Indeed.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Peter. Appreciate your time and equipment, and we'll just keep kind of slogging along, trying to grow this good cannabis medicine.
Yeah,
Right on.
everybody's doing great. So this time seems to work for everyone, or do we need to? We'll run with this for a while. I know some of you have got 2 shows on today.
Yep, it's fine by me. I try to be flexible, but I've just been out of state recently, so.
Too much
That's all
fun.
good.
He's been traveling, having too much fun.
This is definitely a great time for me. I'm on at 4:20 for my Michigan time here. So it's pretty awesome.
Fantastic. All right, then, everybody. Well, thank you very much for joining in on another episode of the Operation Grow Show. The flowering has begun session. Next week will be at least a weekend on the flowering. Week and a bit, actually, on the flowering side. So should we get more interesting, get some nice photos, and yeah, we would have hopefully ironed out more of the teething issues with doing the new streaming. But it seems to have worked okay so far.
We're getting there anyway.
Hey, we did pretty good on the fly.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, we did. Great job tonight.
All right, guys.
Good job.
In fact, maybe we should actually tag that in this video, you know, how to sort out the streaming when Hangouts Live goes. Watch this video.
Using Google Meetings.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
All right, everybody have a good week, and we'll meet back here next Thursday. Y'all see?
See you guys next time.
Later on.